What? Hello. Have a seat right there. Cause this one's going to be
spicy.
The My Little Pony fandom has been one of many on the internet that emerged in the last decade. However, there was always something about them that made them stand out from some of the others. Because while the other fandoms were either filled with psychopaths wanting to kill each other or with animals wanting to fuck each other,
I'm a doggy. Rawr.
the bronies sort of just were normal. Well, as normal as grown-up dudes dressing up as magical ponies from a television show that's meant for little girls can be, but hey, I mean, at least they don't do shit like this.
Delightful.
Over the years, the Brony fandom gained a reputation for being mostly very kind and organized, and even though they weren't the target audience of the My Little Pony franchise, they still managed to enjoy a great relationship with the people behind it. However, when the fandom was still in its early years, there was an event which almost ruined everything. And that is the infamous last Pegasus Unicon. The year is 2013, and by now the fairly new Brony fandom had already held dozens of successful conventions. However, an American Brony couple wanted to create something that was bigger and better than anything that came before it. It was called the last Pegasus Unicon. And even though it was a brand new convention, that certainly didn't stop its creators from setting the goals astronomically high. It was scheduled from the 22nd to the 24th of February and was held in Florida Man's second natural habitat, Las Vegas, Nevada, in the prestigious Riviera Hotel. An unprecedented number of celebrity guests from the show were booked for the event, and a targeted attendance of at least 2,000 people seemed more than feasible. However, when the 22nd finally rolled around, it immediately became apparent that things were not going to be as smooth as they thought. The first blowback was the venue itself. The once iconic Riviera Hotel was nothing more than a ghost of its former glory, with subpar cleanliness, average food, outdated interior, and an overall aesthetic that only someone with a scat fetish could love. But that shouldn't have been so surprising, as the hotel had a lot of financial troubles at the time and was going through bankruptcy, something which would lead to another problem for the convention.
Another one.
Because you see, when holding a convention, it's normally the case that the venue that's hosting it gets paid up front by the organizers. However, in this case, because the hotel was in dire need of money and didn't want to let this opportunity go, they allowed the organizers to pay their expenses as the convention went on, which normally wouldn't have been a problem if only the attendance wasn't so tiny. From the predicted 2,000, only 1,100 showed up, which meant that the organizers didn't have nearly enough money to pay the hotel. However, this wasn't the end of the world, as they still had many opportunities to make more money as the con went on, with things like merchandise, autographs and concerts. And so, the convention went on just like normal, and was actually going quite well. The people were having fun. So much fun in fact, that they thought it would be appropriate to perform not one, not two, but 3 Harlem Shakes. However, not everyone was having such a great time at Unicon. The vendors, for example, weren't selling as much as they'd hoped and were struggling to just break even. Also, the small amount of money they had received wasn't even real money. For some reason, the organizers introduced its own currency for the convention, Unicon bits, which is just like normal money but funner and also, well, fake. The idea was that at the end of the convention, the vendors would be able to hand them back to the organizers for real money, which sounds pretty retarded, but trust me, there was a reason behind this, but that's for later. Aside from the vendors, sponsors and advertisers of the con were also pissed because they had paid thousands of dollars for advertisements in the Unicon pamphlets. Now, 5,000 of these were promised to be manufactured and distributed, but only 100 were made by hand with a laserjet printer, which meant that only a few people got them and saw the advertisements in them. Now that's pretty bad, but the problems don't end there. The first 2 days of Unicon were filled with mishaps, which just highlighted the complete incompetence of the organizers. On Friday, they forgot to pick up the celebrity guests from the airport, which meant that they had to get to the convention by themselves somehow.
Get out of my car! Now!
Also, there was little to no security, which meant that the guests most of the time were just walking around unattended. Then, on Saturday night, there was a celebrity dinner where they held a fundraiser for the Kiki Cancer Fund, which was successful, surprisingly. Well, there was this one instance where voice actress Tara Strong was served eggplant, which could have killed her, but hey, let's ignore the small details. Okay, now, did I forget anything else? Oh yeah, there was also a fire alarm which went off on Saturday that forced everyone to evacuate, but that's pretty much it. Now, with me having listed all of that, it might sound as if the convention was a shit show, but that's not true. Up to that point, it was going fairly well. There were a few hiccups here and there, but that's normal for a first year con. I mean, as I've said before, most people were still enjoying themselves. But then, it was Sunday. If you can remember, in the beginning I said that the Riviera Hotel allowed the organizers to pay as the convention went on. But now it's the final day, and they still don't have their money. And so, they got angry.
Where's my money, bitch? Where's my money? Where's my money, bitch? Huh, bitch? Where's my money, bitch? Bitch, where's my money? Come on. Where's my money, bitch? I ain't gonna keep asking nice!
And so they started throwing everyone out of the hotel rooms, while also charging them hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars in the process. Mind you, for rooms they thought they had already paid for.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
However, the celebrities had it even worse. They were in some instances being doubled or triple charged by the hotel. But what the hotel was doing here was absolutely illegal. All of the attendees had given their credit card information to the hotel when checking in, but this was only for incidentals such as meals and beverages, not for the rooms themselves. The Riviera was actually very lucky here that they didn't get sued. But the scummy behavior doesn't stop there. While throwing everyone out, the hotel staff also confiscated all of the merchandise the vendors had left, causing them major losses, which got even worse later on. Because during the convention, the only currency the vendors got paid with was the Unicon bits, which they were supposed to hand in for real money. However, that's not really possible, and you can't even find somebody to fucking exchange it with. The organizers had ditched the convention. What the fuck? So, what happened? Well, as it turns out, the organizers had managed to accrue a lot of debt while the event was going on. The reasons for this are still unclear, but by Saturday afternoon, the organizers probably realized that they weren't gonna be able to pay everyone back, and so they just decided to fuck off. But not without taking $40,000 worth of cash that was earned during the convention with them first. Which also suggests the idea that the false fire alarm the day prior might not have been triggered by accident, as it did present the perfect opportunity to bail. Also later on, the Riviera stated that it was actually the head organizer who had instructed the hotel staff to charge the attendees for the missing money, erasing themselves from the picture entirely. Of course, all of this made it seem like the convention was a huge scam. Well, to some. Surprisingly, a lot of people still thought that the couple had good intentions, but taking a look at their past history makes that a bit hard to believe. Because some of the things the couple has been involved and participated in over the years include, but are not limited to, running a pagan church, organizing cruises that don't have any records of existing, running a store for balloon art and exotic animals with products such as fancy pet rats like the famous Albono, which funnily enough got broken into the day after it opened, probably out of pure misfortune, but also potential insurance fraud. But I'm not done yet. Performing psychic reading sessions, faith healing, participating in Las Vegas blackjack tournaments, and taking animals to Fremont Street in an effort to make money while sitting in a motorized wheelchair and acting handicapped so people will feel sorry for you. Allegedly. Now, none of this is proof that they're actually scammers, but the fact that during the convention they demanded people to hand over all their money for shitty drawings from 4th graders without making them sign a formal agreement first, which then in turn freed them of an illegal obligation of exchanging it back into real money, sure did make it seem like they were. Also, they paid the actors with bouncing checks, which meant that they didn't get paid anything for the services. So maybe Las Pegasus really was a convention? Or with the way everything turned out, maybe it would be more appropriate to call it Rainbow Dashcon? So, the convention ends prematurely, everybody's kicked out of the rooms, the vendors and celebrities don't make any money, and dozens of people are now stranded in Las Vegas without any means of getting home. Everything is a disaster. The convention that was meant to be the biggest and the bestest had failed spectacularly. But here's the problem. It wasn't allowed to fail. Cause you see, back in 2013, the My Little Pony fandom was still fairly new, and Hasbro, the company who owned the franchise, didn't know what to make of, well, this. And the way the stars at Las Pegasus turned out certainly didn't help with that, especially the whole actors not getting paid part. So, in order for Hasbro to not turn into a Nintendo that's trying to squash the whole fandom, the Bronies had to come up with a solution. And so, #Las Pegasus was born, an auction and donation campaign designed to pay the guests and give financial relief to those who were hit the worst. And this was truly a magnificent moment to witness, because it was a moment of unity, a moment where everybody, stars and fans alike, came together in an effort to help each other. Even rival websites Everfree Network and Equestria Daily had set the differences aside and were making out. Also, fans and creators of the show came forward and gave some of the stuff away for auction.
How much for my banana? $10, 15, $15. I need 20, 20, 30, 35, 40, 50.
At the end of the day, Las Pegasus was a huge success. Thousands of extra dollars which were given to charity later on. But ultimately, everybody got back home and the fandom was saved. So everything ended on a somewhat good note. Yes, Unicon was a shit show, but ultimately it also made the fandom stronger and made them learn from the mistakes that were made so that nothing like this could happen ever again. And it never did? Well, sort of. But at the end of the day, the most important thing about all of this is that the Bronies showed everybody that friendship really is
magic.
You know, guys, this is pretty much where it all began. I know there were conventions before Las Pegasus Unicon, but that con brought us all together. If we as a fandom had not come together to fix what was wrong and fix what was broken, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't have BabsCon. We wouldn't have BronyCon. We wouldn't have any of these wonderful, beautiful places that we all get to meet and congregate and meet all the people that work on this show. So, everybody out there who is poo-pooing or saying that the Riv is gone, it was bad. No. The Riv wasn't bad. The Riv brought us together. For you, my friend.
And now fuck off.